This week's show brought to you by Roosters, a fun casual joint. Frank Shoup, Georgetown's big name in cars.
Welcome everybody to the Scott County Cardinals Lady Cardinals News Graphic KHSAA Sweet 16 Coaches Show. We like to say that. We love the fact that the Lady Cards have taken this season as far as it can go. We think of the kind of humble beginnings back in October and November. Some pretty high hopes even then, obviously, with the talent they had coming back with a couple of the preseason games where they just put up points left and right and lit up the scoreboard. We thought maybe this could be the year where they make that jump. And for the first time since 2010, Coach Steve Helton and the Lady Cards are going to state. Let's give you the rundown. Thursday will be the game. It's at 1:30 p.m. Scott County will take on DuPont Manual of Louisville. That's a rematch of a game played back on January the 11th at Manual. Won pretty big by Scott County, but before you get too excited about that, let's point out that Manual are the 7th region champions, and they defeated no less than the team that was ranked number 1 in most corners by most people in most computer rankings, Sacred Heart. And that was a stunning reversal. Sacred Heart had won that game by close to 50 points during the regular season. I think 77-30 might have been the final. Manual beat them in the regional final. So it's proof that they can turn it around, and they're playing well. They're on a late season winning streak as well. Now nobody, very few teams anyway, have done what the Scott County Lady Cardinals have done. 31-2, 21 consecutive victories, rolled through the district and pretty much rolled through the region. The thing you got to like about the run that they had at EKU is that things didn't always go according to plan. Things didn't always go great. It was kind of a continuation a little bit of the Henry Clay game in the championship of the 42nd District, where shots didn't always fall. There, officials call things a different way in the tournament. You got to get adjusted to that. There was some foul difficulties early, but Scott County found a way to overcome that and just showed the togetherness that I think maybe they lacked early in the season. And we'll get Coach to chime in on that later in the show about how he saw this team develop from point A to point B. Because there were times around Christmas where the 2 losses that SC had kind of crept in there, and there was maybe some doubt in the back of everybody's mind, but you can either circle the wagons at that point and move forward and kind of have individual players surrender themselves to the team, or you can have a team kind of go its separate ways. And fortunately for the Lady Cards, it all gravitated inward, and they became a force that was even greater than the one that started the season. Leading the charge, of course, Peyton Riddle was the tournament MVP at Eastern Kentucky, chimed in pretty consistently with about 18, 20 points a game every night. Morgan DeFore had some early foul trouble in a couple of the games, but she rallied. Malia Owens, always a threat, and Juliet Smith, who Coach Helton calls the glue that really holds this together. She's one of those players. I think of Zakiah Holt also as being one of those glue players that just kind of brings the team together. And you might not see it on the point tallies all the time, but rebounds, assists, steals, they do it all and round out that starting 5 in a way that makes this team, I think, a threat to go all the way. Now, let's look at that schedule. It's a hard situation because as a team and a coach, you're going to take one game at a time, but it's 4 consecutive days the way it worked out for Scott County. 4 straight games in 4 days if they can make that run. Starts with Manual, and then they would go to a Friday night 8 o'clock pairing if they were to win that game. And that could potentially be against the same Boyd County team that they beat 96-94 in that Christmas tournament overtime game. So a lot to look forward to there. And then Saturday night would be an 8 o'clock game as well. And then Sunday, the championship at 2 p.m. All of this taking place at BB&T Arena on the campus of Northern Kentucky University. That field of 16 teams, you'll notice some familiar names. Boyd County, we mentioned, Ryle, Simon Kenton. SC played all those teams in addition to Manual during the regular season. They were 4-0 against those opponents, but 3 of those games went right down to the wire. The Ryle game was a 1-point game. The Simon Kenton game went to overtime, also at the Toyota Classic. And as we mentioned, the overtime Boyd County game. Manual was the only one that was one-sided, but even that was close for a half, and a nearly perfect third quarter, I think you could say, in that game is what turned it around. Scott County also came out hitting threes like crazy in that game. It was one of the most efficient three-point shooting games of the season. I don't think that part of Scott County's game was there in the regional tournament as much as it has been. Some of that's a product of just the nerves of being in a win or else setting. I think we saw the boys struggle with that as well in their tournament. If you watch their coaches show coming up next week, we'll talk a little bit about that. But you've got to have the complete package to make a run in the tournament. Scott County certainly does. Some of the teams that were ranked ahead of them have been knocked out. So it's there on the table, and now it's, again, just one game, and one game to try to get through this and win it and make some special memories for what has been a special team. We talked with Coach Helton. This is Scott County's 6th regional title. It is the 4th one that he has been involved with. His rookie season of 2001, he had nowhere to go but down from there, as they won the regional title that year, but they also won it in 2005. Those are Rebecca Dyer was involved with some of those teams. Then you get to 2010 with Kristen Steinbach and Madison. I'm drawing a blank because I wasn't here then. But that team in 2010 got to the the state final, lost to Louisville Mercy by 10. But it was a great run. They had a couple of 1- and 2-point wins in that tournament. You got to win the close ones. You got to hit your free throws. You got to take care of the ball. Those are all keys to look forward to this week. But better have Coach Helton tell you than I. Let's hear what he had to say.
Scott County's 31-2 season has fulfilled the team's preseason potential.
In August, we began this journey, and a lot of questions throughout the season, but our theme throughout was we felt like we had a chance. And when you're in that situation, there's a lot of things got to go your way. And we've been very blessed this season to be here and get to play in March.
The Lady Cards put the team ahead of their individual interests.
Can't say enough about our kids. They, throughout the entire season, kept the same mindset. They improved. They worked hard. They bought in. That was our biggest deal, is getting them to buy in, because we have so many talented kids. So many kids who could probably average, I told them in the locker room, about 30 a game on some teams. But they have taken that sacrifice, and they make the extra pass. Sometimes the extra 2 passes in order for this team to be successful. We have been very blessed to stay healthy throughout the year. We had some sickness right around Christmas time. We did have some sickness, and a few times the ball bounced our way. A few times our kids, you talk about luck. Sometimes our kids created some luck this year just by being in the right spot at the right time. Some kids stepped up, hit some huge shots. Kids accepted their roles throughout this season, and it really started to show through. And this, our February streak, we got a little confidence, and here we are in March. And again, expectations of high. Kids have handled it, and so that's for a team not to have been there. We were supposed to be there last year. Some things went, we had some injuries. We had some things not go our way at certain times. And so you come back, and you never know how a team's going to respond, because they're kids. They're 17, 18-year-old kids, and for them to come back with mentality and keeping a team first, I'm just so proud.
Scott County Stars struck the right balance in the 11th Region Tournament.
There's time and place for the extra pass. There's absolutely, we've always went through the rule of you can't do too much of rebounding. But there is a chance that you can overpass sometimes. There is a chance that you can shoot too much. There is a chance that you can overthink the game. Rebounding is something you can't do enough of. The flip side of that is if you're rebounding a whole lot, that means you're not making a lot of shots. So you got to fix that. Morgan, I thought, came out determined. Much so from the night before when she had Dunbar, got some quick foul trouble, came back, and we felt like attacking the rim would be a really positive for us, our team, because then Franklin County has to make some adjustments. Are you going to play the drive? Are you going to play the 3? And we come out of there, we hit some threes. Our drive was good. I thought we got out in transition. We played 94 feet for the 3 games in a row. 94 feet game. That's what we played, and I was very pleased with that. And here we go back into NKU, another 94-foot court, and we want to make Manual play the same way, every who we face.
A one-sided win at Manual in January was completely unexpected.
First thing I want to do is talk to Coach Sparks and congratulate him, because we've been there. He was in a tough spot this year. That team was falling apart. That team had some issues. And you could tell when we played them because they're as talented as any team you're going to see. They have size, they have quickness. I mean, they're going to be, and they look like a small college team. But he kept them together. And, my hat's off to him because during that lull, it's so easy for a team just to entirely lose the season. He kept them together. They're playing so hard right now. I mean, obviously, they came back and bounced back and beat a Sacred Heart, a wounded Sacred Heart, but still yet. They come back and make some big plays against Sacred Heart. So they're going to be an incredible challenge for us. The game in January, it was just a regular season game. I think we've improved. They've improved. And we're excited to be at NKU for the Sweet 16.
If the Lady Cards hope to win the state title, they would have to win 4 games in 4 days.
Quick turnaround. I mean, you're playing less than 24 hours. Like that's that first game. You go look at every who gets passed will be playing in about 30 hours. From a coaching standpoint, the kids, and that's bottom line, it's one game at a time and the game in front of them. From a coaching standpoint, you already have scouting reports, you have film, you already have everything laid out, and that stays in the coach's room until that last buzzer sounds and you're getting ready for that next game, hopefully. The kids, we don't ever talk about who's next, even though the coaches have a plan and we have an idea, because whether the bracket works out, we could see some teams we've already seen already again. So they're, regular season games, we have some, and it just gives us an idea, but it's all about who's playing well at the end of the season. It's all about some tweaks because I would hope to think that everyone who's getting ready to play us is saying they're playing better now than they were in January and February. So from a coaching standpoint, preparation. From a kid standpoint, so stay focused on our opponent. Let's go play.
An aggressive road schedule prepared Scott County for this week's showcase.
Played a good schedule. There's no doubt about it. Our out-of-conference schedule was strong. Obviously, our 11th region and our 42nd district schedule was strong, even though some of the scores were a little lopsided. On any given night, anything can happen in the 11th region. So the teams we played, Toyota Classic, Lexington Catholic Tournament, a regular season at Manual, just a regular season game, Scott High, some of the games that had marquee players who gave us some difficulties. Hopefully we can all say it prepared us for what we're going into right now.
Coach Helton is taking a team to the Sweet 16 for the 4th time.
2001, our first year, we were first year head coach. Now Terry and Glenn, they'd already been on the staff, so they'd been here. We're sitting up there the night before watching Shelby and Oldham County go into double overtime. And we're just sitting there grinning ear to ear thinking, we might have a chance at this. They're going to be tired. No, our kids had never been to a regional championship. And we had never coached in a regional championship. Our very first year to come out there with a regional championship. And that's when we had the old VHS tapes. And Oldham County, Todd Gilly that night, we had traded tapes out. And it was our tape. He walks over to me before the game and hands me that VHS 2-3 tapes and says, I just want you to know I didn't watch your team at all. I was watching the other team. I'm like, oh my goodness. I told Terry, I said, he knows everything we're going to run. We're doomed. And lo and behold, that little team come out of there. We weren't expected to win that year. They already had the escort set up for their bus. There was a sheriff's deputy set up in front of that Oldham County bus. They were ready to go back, and that was their celebration. And lo and behold, here we go. A team that just celebrates and didn't know no better, and we thought we had hung the moon. Walk out there, here we go back, 2005. One of the better teams that we've been blessed to coach. We thought, we got a cycle here. Every 4 years we're going to go to state. So we all had it planned out. 2010, good team, but state runner-up. Not sure we were prepared for that. Krista Steinbach hits the shot still talked about around the state of Kentucky. Madison Webb, just an incredible team. Alex McKenzie that bought in, wasn't that dominating. During warm-ups, you're like, they're not the biggest team, they're not the fastest team, but they played as a team. Brianna McKee, they all bought in. Allie Conrad, who is a member of our staff now, they all bought in. We walked out there that night, Mercy. They won the championship. Good friends Mark and Keith. They were celebrating. Terry and I walked out of WKU that night, and we said, "We'll be back. We'll be back." 2011, we were supposed to be a pretty good team that year. Just didn't happen. Things didn't happen. 2012, 13, and all of a sudden 2014, it was our 4th year. We were supposed to go back because we had made that cycle. We were starting, well, we'll go back. This will be our cycle year. Things just didn't happen. And from a coaching standpoint, you start asking yourself, will you ever have that chance to go back again? And no matter how talented you are in this region, it don't always mean that you're going to go to state tournament. So we're so blessed. And when that horn finally went off at EKU the other night, it was I want to say a relief, but more than that, it was to see those kids' looks on their face because they were so excited. And I still don't think they know exactly what they've done. And hopefully that'll sink in. But the reason we do this is for our kids. We want them to experience this. From a coach, it is what it is. But these kids to experience this, because I told them in the locker room today, in 1991 I got to play in state tournament. I still remember playing in state tournament against Knott County Central and Fairdale, the year that Fairdale won it. And I thought, man, we had hung the moon. These kids will have that chance to talk about someday. If they're coaching, they'll tell their kids how they got to play in the state tournament. And I hope it's memories that they'll take from our program and put it into their families.
All right, that was Coach Helton, and he's excited. He's always a man that wears his emotions on his sleeve for this team, and he was hugging everybody in sight, myself included, the other night after that game. It was a special moment for the Helton family. You want good people, it doesn't get any better than that. And certainly from a personal standpoint, one of the highlights of my career, watching this team do what it has done under his watch. So props to Coach Helton, and just looking forward to a great week as long as this ride lasts with this group. We talked to some of the players that were involved in it. 7 seniors were part of this team. We want to give a shout out to them because Peyton Riddle gets a lot of the credit. Zakiah Holt gets a lot of the credit for being in the starting lineup, but there's some that have really embraced their roles and maybe didn't get to play much in this playoff journey, but they've been a big part of it, and we want to recognize them as well. A lot of hope for the future, a lot of hope that this might be not the last time we see this run being made in the near future, but enough for me. Let's hear what the players had to say about their regional championship run.
Juliet Smith and Zakiah Holt are 2 of the Lady Card's most unselfish leaders.
Yeah, definitely. If my teammates aren't hitting, I'm definitely going to contribute that way, scoring. That's not always my first choice, but when they need me, I will be there.
It was just more about communicating and just, knowing the players' personnel and just using that against them, and just always knowing everybody's personnel just in case we switch, but just being communicative is just the point.
Smith's return as starting point guard stabilized Scott County this season.
Yeah, I definitely, whenever we're down or anything, I know that we're going to come back because I have confidence in my team. So that's kind of a good role for a point guard to have.
Scott County handled the pressure of high expectations in the district and region tournaments.
Yeah, that's definitely, we came in, we knew we had a good chance to win region, and we did, so.
The Lady Cards found a way to utilize everyone's strengths this season.
I think us playing together so long, and we all know each other, that the chemistry was really good, and everybody knows their role, and so that really helped.
Manual's size and quickness have given Scott County problems in the past.
Well, they're big, so we're going to have to really get down low, and they have a guard who's really fast, and she can get to the rim easily, so we have to really play good defense.
Both teams have evolved since the SC Manual game in January.
It's kind of like, I feel like it's kind of like in between, because we know about them, but they also know about us. But what's good about it is that we've grown up from that team, and that we can look back and say, oh, we're a better team now, and then they can do the same, so it's just kind of in between.
Yeah, but they're a different team. We're a different team. I mean, they upset Sacred Heart, so they're definitely better than they were when we played them back in January.
The Lady Cards have grown closer as a team through the second half of the season.
Just the closeness, the chemistry, definitely, because we've gotten a lot better with that, yeah.
Just us just kind of learning from our past, and then we all just kind of play together as a team, and we communicated really well, and we were all focused on this one goal, so I think that's what clutched it at the end.
Scott County is trying to enjoy the moment and approach each game as it comes.
You just suck it in and just like our coach said, you know, taking it day by day. And then, you know, I just go by the scripture that, you know, Coach put in. It's just like I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And as long as we, you know, go by that, I think we can take it on.
Holt is one of 7 Scott County seniors who will play her final game at some point this week.
Yes, it's bittersweet, but I plan on going out with a bang. So.
Yeah.